feels right for you, just coming into a sitting position. And once again, grab hold of the fleshy part, find those sit bones, activate the feet once more, draw the toes up towards you, and then point those toes away. Do a couple of movements like this, and just see how your body is feeling through those hamstrings, through that lower back. Now, as you're holding here, we're going to do a very gentle twist. So twists are really beneficial for obviously our whole spine, but they really activate, and our cerebral fluid that runs down the spine needs movement, and specifically needs some type of twisting movement that's not hunched forward. So there's lots of different movements that we do throughout our day. However, a huge piece, especially if we're in a protective state or there's just a lot going on in our world, that at times automatic kind of self-protection posture is very counterproductive for our spine health. So I'm going to say that in a slightly different way. Our spine health needs to be in a very elongated and very structured, so stacking space for the cerebral fluid, which is different than our circulation, different than the blood that runs through our body. We have our heart that is literal pump that pumps the circulatory system. Our cerebral fluid, though, is also a very important fluid to be going, and it literally flushes the brain. That's where we have the ability, that brain fog or that feeling of brain fog can happen from the cerebral fluid getting stuck or lodged somewhere within the spinal column itself. So if you've ever had injury in the tailbone, the lower back, any part of the spine, and or you notice that you have a lot of buildup in, so a couple of things here, not to go too much on a tangent, but our lymphatic, when our lymphatic drainage spots are really clogged, they actually have a component where they put a lot of pressure on our cerebral fluid as well. And so this combination of allowing the natural detoxing that occurs throughout our body every day, which is so beautiful and wondrous, our cerebral fluid really needs that extra support in order to move that fluid, and that fluid will actually just flush. So it'll flush the brain, it'll help with creativity, it'll help with our hormones, it'll help with sleep and being able to problem solve, be able to handle situations where our mind, we're not going into the automatic nervous system, we're not going into that fight flight. Our mind is looking at the whole perspective, and because that cerebral fluid is constantly flushing and doing its own form of detoxing, it really allows us to, I'm gonna say it's like a tuning in. So that, think of that cerebral fluid as your body's natural tuning in process. When we move the spine, when our spine is nice and healthy and settled, it's going to really help our energy, on our creativity, on how we're sleeping, the quality of sleep that we're getting. All these pieces that I think a lot, especially in this time and in this transition from summer to fall. A lot of us need more sleep. We need that. We're just literally kind of going into that cocooning of taking care of the self, and that's an important feature of the fall. However, another feature that occurs is our posture also tends to reflect that. So really opening through the heart space, and we're going to come into a spinal twist, very gentle spinal twist with a lot of intention. So a lot of understanding, okay, as I move into this, I'm going to visualize this beautiful, and I always look at it as this kind of milky white, glowy fluid that is, and at times I can feel that fluid flushing itself down my spine, into my tailbone, going back up the spine and up and flushing through my brain, my head. So as I come through this and as I go into this twist, just see what comes forward for you. This is an important part and an important feature of our stretch today. So wherever you are, coming in nice and tall spine. So again, the sit bones are the foundation. They help to create a balance between the hips. They allow the spine to begin to stack one on top of the other in their natural S curve. So everyone's spine is quite unique and different. But as you begin to sit hopefully a little taller, we're just going to allow, so I'm going to do lefts and rights here, but it's going to be mirror image. So that left hand comes onto the outside of that right leg. Okay, if it feels comfortable, activate those feet. So kick those heels forward, draw the toes towards you. Left hand gets a nice tight grip on the outside of that leg. Try not to grab specifically on the knee, just above or below the knee. And then with this hand, we're going to have two options. This hand can either support us by coming nice and close to our hip and kind of encouraging that lengthening through the spine first before we twist. Or if you want to challenge yourself, the same right hand is going to come behind the back, and we're just going to see if those fingertips can reach over to that left hip. Okay, I'm going to choose to bring that hand down, and then I'll probably end up kind of going over as well. So pushing that right hand down into the floor, I lift tall through the spine. I really feel my sit bones, and as I exhale, I pull with this left hand, just guiding that upper body. And again, as soon as I start with the hip movement in the lower spine first, so I rotate through the lower spine, then the middle, then the upper, and the last thing to move should be that upper neck and head if it feels right for you. As you come out, you release. You slowly unwind in the opposite direction. And then before we switch to the other side, common piece, just give your upper body, give your body a little bit of a release. So adjust however you need to. If you need to bring the legs together, allow those knees to flutter. If you want to encourage those shoulders, neck, and upper body just to move, just to create some rebalancing, reshifting within.